Hello folks, meet me again, Mr. Scary Exist. In this video, I'd like to tell you the true story. Don't you know that I can see them, but they can't see me? Only 1 out of 1,000 people had the experience to get in touch with me. Here is the story. My name is Dr. Alan Parker, a cardiologist by profession. After my parents' untimely demise, I returned to the small town where I spent my childhood. It was a place that seemed frozen in time, with picket fences and manicured lawns, a picturesque facade hiding a disturbing secret. The story began on a melancholic note, the air heavy with grief as I settled into my childhood home. The town, seemingly untouched by the passage of time, exuded an idyllic charm that belied the underlying darkness. As I reconnected with old acquaintances, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. Unusual events unfolded slowly. In a place where perfection was the norm, I noticed a peculiar absence. None of the townsfolk had a heartbeat. It was as if the rhythmic thud of life had been replaced by an eerie silence. Conversations were punctuated by an unsettling quiet, and the absence of heartbeats cast a pall over the once thriving community. The unusualness of the situation lay in the stark contrast between the town's pristine appearance and the absence of something so fundamental, the heartbeat. It was this incongruity that transformed the idyllic facade into a chilling enigma, a puzzle that begged to be solved. As I delved deeper into the mystery, I discovered that the town had struck a sinister deal. In exchange for a life of perfection, its residents had willingly given up their hearts. The once vibrant community now existed as mere shells, devoid of the pulsating rhythm that defined life. The town's mayor, a charismatic figure with an unsettling smile, was the architect of this macabre agreement. He reveled in the facade of perfection, where no one aged and everyone wore a perpetual smile. The absence of heartbeats became a symbol of the town's collective sacrifice, a dark secret hidden beneath the veneer of normalcy. The disturbing revelation plunged me into a nightmarish reality. Every step echoed with an eerie silence, and the air seemed to carry the weight of unspoken sorrow. Faces frozen in perpetual smiles hid the true horror lurking beneath the surface. The absence of heartbeats wasn't the only unsettling aspect. Strange shadows danced on the walls at night, their elongated forms weaving through the empty streets. Whispers echoed through the still air, a chorus of voices that seemed to mourn the loss of something irreplaceable. A chilling cold settled over the town, and an inexplicable smell of decay hung in the air. The once vibrant flowers wilted, their colors drained by the pervasive darkness. The town, once a haven of warmth and familiarity, had transformed into a desolate landscape haunted by the specter of its own choices. The solution to the town's plight rested in confronting the mayor, the puppet master orchestrating the residents' pact. Armed with the knowledge of their sacrifice, I confronted him in a town hall meeting. The air crackled with tension as I exposed the truth, unraveling the carefully constructed facade that had ensnared the townspeople. The mayor, cornered and exposed, attempted to justify the heartless existence the town had embraced. But the residents, awakening from their numb compliance, yearned for more than the illusion of perfection. The truth became a catalyst for change, a force that shattered the oppressive silence and restored the heartbeat to the town. The resolution came at a cost. The residents, now liberated from the mayor's sinister pact, faced the daunting challenge of rebuilding their lives. The process was slow, and the scars of their heartless existence lingered. Yet, with each passing day, the heartbeat returned, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. The ending was clear but tinged with ambiguity. The town, once trapped in a cycle of perfection at the expense of its heart, now stood on the precipice of rediscovering what it truly meant to live. The personal message embedded in the story was a reflection on the consequences of sacrificing authenticity for the illusion of perfection. It highlighted the importance of embracing the messy, imperfect beauty of life, even if it meant confronting the darkness within ourselves. Hello folks, meet me again, Mr. Scary Exist. In this video, I'd like to tell you the true story. Don't you know that I can see them, but they can't see me? Only 1 out of 1,000 people had the experience to get in touch with me. Here is the story. My name is Chris, and I, along with my friends, Sarah and Mike, decided to spend a thrilling afternoon in an escape room. We were excited, thinking it would be a fun challenge to solve puzzles and unlock mysteries. Little did we know that the escape room would become a nightmarish journey into the depths of our worst fears. The adventure began innocently enough. The 3 of us arrived at the mysterious escape room venue, a nondescript building that concealed the horrors awaiting us inside. As we entered, a man's voice echoed through the dimly lit hallway, congratulating us on winning a special prize. Our excitement peaked as we eagerly accepted the unexpected invitation. The door creaked open, revealing a room shrouded in darkness. The air was thick with anticipation as we stepped inside, and the door slammed shut behind us. The man's voice returned, informing us that the escape room was uniquely tailored to each of our worst nightmares. A chill ran down my spine, and I exchanged uneasy glances with Sarah and Mike. The unusualness of the situation lay in the realization that the escape room was not a game, but a twisted reflection of our deepest fears. It wasn't the expected challenge of solving puzzles. It was a psychological descent into the darkest corners of our minds, a disturbing turn that transformed the adventure into a haunting nightmare. The story involved the trio, Chris, Sarah, and Mike, as they grappled with the nightmarish scenarios unfolding within the escape room. Each corner of the room seemed to come alive with their individual fears, manifesting in unsettling sounds, eerie images, and a palpable sense of dread. The escape room played tricks on our senses. Unearthly sounds echoed through the shadows, whispers that seemed to carry our own fears into the air. The air became heavy with a metallic taste, and the scent of decay permeated the room. The temperature fluctuated, creating an unsettling cold that seeped into our bones. Images materialized on the dimly lit walls, distorted reflections of our nightmares. For Chris, it was the haunting silhouette of a figure from his past, a specter that had long haunted his dreams. Sarah faced a labyrinth of mirrors, each reflecting distorted versions of herself, a chilling reminder of her insecurities. Mike, consumed by the fear of the unknown, confronted shifting shadows that seemed to defy the laws of reality. The escape room became a psychological battleground, the trio struggling to differentiate between illusion and reality. Panic set in as the boundaries between their worst nightmares and the tangible world blurred. The man's voice, now a malevolent presence, taunted them with cryptic messages that fueled their fears. In the face of their individual terrors, Chris, Sarah, and Mike realized that the only way to escape was to confront and conquer their deepest fears. They worked together, unraveling the twisted puzzles that mirrored their nightmares. The air grew thicker as they progressed, the room seemingly resisting their attempts to break free. As they reached the final puzzle, a surge of adrenaline propelled them to overcome their fears. The room quivered, and the unsettling sounds escalated into a cacophony of dissonance. The images on the walls contorted, merging with the shadows, and the scent of decay intensified. With a final triumphant click, the door swung open. We stumbled into the blinding light of the hallway, disoriented but victorious. The escape room, once a chamber of horrors, faded into the background as we emerged into the safety of the real world. The personal message embedded in the story reflected the transformative power of facing and conquering our deepest fears. It emphasized that sometimes the only way out of a dark labyrinth is to confront the monsters within, emerging stronger on the other side. Hello folks, meet me again, Mr. Scary Exist. In this video, I'd like to tell you the true story. Don't you know that I can see them, but they can't see me? Only 1 out of 1,000 people had the experience to get in touch with me. Here is the story.
In the utter stillness of my apartment, a shadow danced in the mirror, a figure so dark it seemed to drink the light itself. A reflection that wasn't my own, an unwelcome guest, only visible within the confines of that gilded glass. My initial shock gave way to disbelief. Was I imagining things? But as the days turned into nights, the sightings became more frequent, each more unnerving than the last. Every time I'd catch a glimpse of it out of the corner of my eye, that shadowy figure lurking in the mirror. Yet whenever I'd gather the courage to face it, there would be nothing. An empty room reflected back at me, its silence almost mocking. The air around me would grow heavy, the atmosphere cloaked in a chilling sense of unease. The figure was there, yet it wasn't. It exists only in the mirror, an unseen presence in my home. A cold shiver ran down my spine as I turned to face the room, and found it empty. The apartment held its breath as I delved into its past, peeling back layers of time like old wallpaper. The musty smell of forgotten stories filled the air as I dug deeper, my heart pounding like a drum in the silence. I discovered that my home had a heartbeat of its own, a rhythm that pulsed through its walls, telling a tale of joy, sorrow, and a tragedy that was deeply etched into its foundation. In the heart of this modern apartment lay a dark history. Years ago, it had been the abode of a young woman much like myself who met an untimely end, shrouded in mystery. Her name was Lily, her life snuffed out in the bloom of her youth, her mirrors the silent witnesses to her demise. The more I uncovered, the more the shadow in my mirror began to take form. It was no longer just a hazy figure, it started to resemble Lily, her sorrowful eyes reflecting a life cut short. The mirrors became her canvas, her ethereal hands painting a story of fear, despair, and a secret that had been buried with her. The apartment's walls whispered Lily's tale, the echo of her laughter, the soft patter of her footsteps, the silent screams that filled her last night. They were all etched into the apartment's memory. The shadow in my mirror was her echo, a spectral presence, trapped in a loop of her tragic end. As I pieced together Lily's story, I stumbled upon a shocking revelation. In my hands I held a faded photograph of Lily, and beside her stood a man who bore an uncanny resemblance to me. The connection was undeniable. We were bound by blood. Lily was my ancestor. The apartment wasn't just my home, it was my heritage. As the last piece of the puzzle fell into place, I felt a chill of realization. The shadow in the mirror, it was waiting for me. The mirror was no longer just a mirror. It was a window, a connection to a time long past and a life cut short. As I delved deeper into the history of the apartment, I discovered its dark past. The mirror had borne witness to the life of a woman who shared a striking resemblance to me. She was beautiful, vibrant, full of life, until her life was snuffed out tragically within these very walls. The shadowy figure in the mirror, it was her spirit trapped, doomed to repeat her final moments, her cries for help forever echoing through the glass. It was a chilling realization, one that sent a shiver down my spine. Each encounter with her was more intense, more terrifying than the last. The whispering grew louder, the chill in the room more biting. The faint scent of her perfume lingered, a haunting echo of a life lost too soon. Her presence was a constant reminder of the brutal truth that lurked within my home. The final confrontation was inevitable. One evening the mirror's surface rippled, and her figure emerged more clearly than ever. The air grew frigid, and an eerie silence fell over the room. I could see the fear in her eyes reflecting my own. She reached out, her spectral hand stretching towards mine. In that moment I felt a connection, a shared understanding. She was not here to harm me, but was reaching out for help, for release. I extended my hand, feeling a cold rush as our fingers touched. The room spun, and images flashed before my eyes, vivid scenes from her life, her joy, her fear, her end. When I opened my eyes, the room was still. The mirror was clear, reflecting only my startled face. The haunting perfume had vanished. The icy chill was replaced by a comforting warmth. I stood there, staring at my own reflection, but in the depths of the mirror I could see her too. We were bound together, forever reflected in the glass.